Okay, hello and good morning. We're in week 3, and your bell work should be in the middle of your page. Remember, bell work is due at the end of the 9 weeks. All right, let's take a look. Tonight we have open house. Make sure your parents join us. The link will be on Canvas, plus I emailed them yesterday. All right, so look here. We learned some things. A conditional statement is a if-then. So circle the word if and circle the word then. So if I work hard, then I can do anything I want. The hypothesis is the first part. Okay? Do not use the word if. So if you say if, you will miss it. Okay? So that's not part of your hypothesis. So it's going to be hypothesis is I work hard. Conclusion, if you say the word then, you'll miss it, okay? So the conclusion is, I can be anything. And there it is, hypothesis, conclusion. But again, do not include the word if, and do not include the word then. The hypothesis will always come after the word if. Sometimes they switch these and they put the if in the back. Okay, so just be careful. All right, is it true or false? We're going to say that's true. If you work hard, you can be anything you want. We're going to say true on that. Write the converse. Now, you need to know some rules here. The converse, now how do you remember that? The converse is switch. And the way I memorize it is CS, converse, switch. The inverse is the opposite. The contrapositive is both of those, switch and opposite. And the biconditional, and we didn't talk too much about this, uses the word if and only if, and it only works if the contrapositive is true. So the contrapositive must be true in order to write a biconditional. All right, so let's work these. Converse, you have to switch them. So you're going to say, if I can be anything I want, if I can be anything I want, then I worked hard. Okay? So there's that one. That's your converse. The inverse is the opposite, so you don't switch. So let me minimize this a little bit so we can see and I don't run out of space. And we'll put a little bit of brightness in there. Okay, so let's take a look. So the inverse here is the opposite. So go back to the conditional, and you're going to say, if I do not work hard, if I do not work hard, then I cannot be anything I want. And I'm just going to abbreviate. Then I cannot be anything. So it's the opposite. So if they say you cannot, you say you can. That's what the inverse is. It's the opposite. The contrapositive is both of those. So the contrapositive, and let me push this up a little bit, is both of those. So to do the contrapositive, you're going to put this first, but you're going to do the opposite. So you're going to say, if I can't be or cannot, no contractions. If I cannot be anything I want, then, and you say the opposite of this, then I did not work hard. And again, I'm abbreviating. That's your contrapositive. The biconditional is only if this is true. So we're going to say this is true. Therefore, we can write a biconditional. So come up here. And the biconditional, you just drop the word if and then. So you say, I work hard. This is the biconditional. I work hard if and only if I can be anything I want. I can be anything. And you can try to word it a little better than that, but that's the whole gist of what you were taught yesterday. So if I didn't go into too much of the biconditional or contrapositive, you need to know them. So again, the converse, you switch them. The inverse is the opposite, don't switch. The contrapositive, you got to do both of these, switch and opposite. And if the contrapositive is true, then you can write a biconditional where you drop the words if and then. All right, that takes care of that. On a new sheet of paper, copy down these two. Okay, it says if the area is 12 feet, then the sides are 2 by 6 feet. Well, I'm going to say false because the sides could be 3 times 4. It is still 12. Or it could be 1 times 12. Okay? So these are called counter examples. Make sure you understand what a counter example is. All right, so look here. It says write as an if-then statement. And here's how you do it. So you say if an angle measures 90 degrees, then it is a right angle. Let me look at this. All right, actually, no. Okay, that's a switch. So it should be right angle first. So if an angle is a right angle, then it measures 90 degrees. That's better. Okay, the other one would have been a converse. Okay, and that's how you write it as an if-then statement. Okay, today you're going to be doing a worksheet. And before I give you this worksheet, let me point something out to you. Yesterday you had in the workbook, page 38. So, on page 38, I want 1 through 20 if you didn't finish. And I didn't really give you an amount, so I'm giving it to you today. So write that down, put a star by that so you finish it. Here's today's worksheet if you can't be with us. And it's also going to be on Canvas. Now in Canvas, I'm going to start trying to use the modules to make it a little easier for you guys to find the work. And I hope that works better. And this will be the first time I'm doing it. So you got to give me a little leeway there until I figure it out. All right, so look up here. Yesterday you had these same ones, and let's turn our attention to MCR. So put week 3, tonight's open house, and in the morning right here, or in the middle right here, is where this should go. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Anything to the first power is itself. This, only the 2 is squared, so 2 times 2 is 4, so that's going to be a negative 4. This one, the negative is squared, so that's going to be a positive 4. And that's it, and that's how you do that. All right, let's talk about these properties. On a new sheet of paper, copy those down. They're in your book, okay? The associative property, I remember it as AG, and you just regroup. So in other words, if you have 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 2 plus 3 plus 4, and they change the group of the parentheses, like here is 2 and 3, and here is 3 and 4, but the order did not change. In other words, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So as long as the order didn't change, that is an example of the associative property, and this happens to be over addition because we're adding. The distributive property, most kids know this, like 5 times x plus 2, that's going to be 5 times x, which is 5x, and 5 times 2, which is 10. And that is called the distributive property. What some kids forget to do is multiply it to both of these. Sometimes there's more than 2, and you got to do all of them. The identity element of addition is 0. So if I have 7 plus 0, that's your identity, you still end up with 7. When you multiply 7 times 1, will give you your identity. Identity means the same number you started with. Okay? The additive inverse is like if you have x minus 2 is equal to 7, and the opposite of that is a plus 2. That's called the additive inverse. Here's your assignment for today. If you get stuck, make sure you ask. Make sure you copy the problems. Do not pack up early. You may pack up the last 2 minutes only. If you do pack up early, you will get a demerit. Okay? All right, because you have to follow directions. Now, if you finish, you can find something to do quietly, but no electronics. Okay? Read, finish some work, whatever. All right, have a good morning.